Do you realize what you've just done? You've just clicked play on the world's only comic book podcast dedicated to telling the Grail chasing stories of creators and collectors. This is Spec Tales. I'm the ghost host with the most, Jake, along with my recently returned from his California vacation co-host, the one and only Jesus.
First, happy Kamala Khan Day. Second, as you can tell, we're trying something new. We had a huge response from my walkie-talkie from last week. So this time we're trying something more organic with my voice. As you can tell, I think you guys love it. So here's my new voice.
Please, people, you need to stop requesting that we augment Jesus's voice in some way for our recordings. But
Yeah. Keep sending them our way.
In truth, Jesus is fighting a little bit of a bug, but luckily him and I are not in the same room. Therefore, we can still record safely. For all you first-time listeners out there, thank you and welcome to the show. Spec Tales is a comic book podcast that has collectors and creators. What's your Grail tale? Each week, we explore news stories about the comic book grails we love, the epic journeys behind how they were obtained, and how they inspired new creativity.
We also dive into some comic book speculation and how, as collectors, we can help the hobby pay for itself.
Jesus, did you know we are inching closer and closer to not just our 50th episode, but also our 1-year anniversary of the show?
50 episodes in 1 year, crazy. I thought we were just going to do this 1 or 2 weeks. Kind of like Martin said on that episode, like, this guy's crazy. We don't know what we're doing, but we're almost there. And it's crazy, man.
Oh yeah, no, we figured it was gonna, a couple episodes. We'd have some fun, and then we'd discard it, of course, because of my insanity. And yet somehow we have made it. We've got a couple milestones coming up, but we are definitely not going to give you any clues whatsoever on what news or what special we have planned for those episodes. I can't tell you anything.
Oh. Nope, not only that. I mean, that's an Easter egg, but not only that, that's a tease. That's what we call a tease in the biz.
In the biz, we call it a tease. However, you can email us all you want. You can message us all you want. We are not going to give you any details as of yet for what we're going to do for our 50th episode and what we are going to do subsequently for our 1-year anniversary for the show.
We haven't even told this week's guests. Our good friend BC from Blakk Comics and the Comic Geek Pins on YouTube, he absolutely knows nothing either. So don't message him.
Yeah, no, don't at him either. You are welcome to certainly go look him up. BC originally joined us for the January Giant Size New Year's special we did. He is back now to share his Grail tale and a ton of great speculation books. So always drive your family of 6 from Houston to Los Angeles whenever possible, and don't forget to pick up a 9-pack of Bignolatis on your way home. This is episode 47.
This is a conspiracy. That's what this is.
Just begging to course its way through your veins.
Let's just for a moment speculate, shall we?
You're into comic books, aren't you?
I'm a nerd.
But you do like comic books.
Comic books aren't just for sad nerds anymore.
Do you think we need one more?
Strange things are afoot at the Circle K.
Do you think we need one more?
Objection, calls for speculation, move to strike.
This is a bad idea. This is a bad idea.
All right, we'll get one more.
Spec Tales, a comic book podcast with Jake and Jesus.
Here we go again. Welcome back, all you spectators, to yet another amazing episode of Spec Tales. This week, Jesus and I are welcoming back a good friend of the show and previous guest from our giant-sized New Year's special. You'll find him on Instagram as Blakk Comics and as a member of the infamous comic book Kingpins on that there YouTube. We'll simply call him our friend, BC. Welcome to the show, dude.
Jake, Jesus, thank you so much for having me back, man. I missed you guys.
It's been too long.
It was too long.
Yeah.
It was episode 25, and we were like, yeah, he'll be on before 30. Okay, before 35. Okay, before 40. But we got you on now, man. You can't go anywhere.
Yeah, we've been trying to work this out for a little bit. You're a busy guy, though, dude. Every night of the week, you're hustling.
he's doing his thing. That life, man. That life does take over, though.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You got the little one at home. That'll happen. So, but then Comic Kingpins, man, you guys are killing it on YouTube, right? You just launched in January. Was it January?
So we actually launched in October. That's when we launched as Comic Kingpins, October of last year. But yeah, man, been doing that. Obviously, hopping on with Newbie Sundays and Tuesdays. Now taking a minor step back. You know what I mean? There's so much going on. You guys heard what happened with my home.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a flood, but hey, man, we're still good. Life is good. But yeah, man, it's been busy, very busy. But BC's still hanging around on the YouTube with you guys as well. I'm super excited, man, to be here.
Yeah, man. And just for all the listeners out there, what BC was saying was, unfortunately, earlier this year, he had a flood in his home. And I really, I am sorry about that. I know that really affected a lot of you got a family, you got a lot of stuff going on besides just comic books. But the whole community really, felt for you when that happened. So glad you're coming back. We got you back on the show. And I think this is going to be a pretty good episode. It's interesting. We had Black Market Comics on last week. But this week we got Black Crown Comics, and that's Black spelled Blakk. Everybody, for everybody out there looking it up.
He's dyslexic apparently, but no. What really took place is the main reason why I put Black is because my name in Italian actually translates. My last name translates to Black. So there you go. There's a little hint to.
Oh man, we're getting Easter eggs in this episode already.
Yeah, and the crown represents. I used to play music. I was a musician prior, a lead singer for a band, and the crown represents the band. So another Easter egg there.
Jeez, man, there's a lot of thought that went into this title. We just pulled Spec tales right out of our asses.
There you go, man. There you go.
Nice.
Oh man.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yep, fun stuff, man.
And so, what? Real quick, let's do the real quick pitch for. So, Black Crown Comics is it a? I mean, you're on Instagram under that title. Are you more of a seller, or are you a collector under that title?
Oh man, I'm totally a collector. I'll be honest with you guys. So we just spoke Comic Kingpins launching in October, but I actually made my first appearance. I don't remember. I think it's about a year ago on FaceTime and Mr. Key Issues' channel, and they were running previously on. So that's really where I hopped on because Hyper Combo Comics also joined that team. They were doing their thing with Newbie, and then I got an invite to just hop on, and I'm like, all right, man, like this seems cool. Hop on to YouTube, and here we are 1 year later. I thought it was a one-shot deal. I thought it was going to be a one-shot, and they reeled me in, man.
And now they can't get rid of you, right?
It's terrible.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Yeah, it's a lot of fun watching you guys do your thing on YouTube, and of course, it's always fun engaging with you on Instagram. I know you post a lot of the books you're collecting on there. It's always good to kind of follow friends and see what they're getting, and that's kind of been the best part because I came to Instagram before I came to YouTube or this podcast, and so I got to know other collectors just through Instagram and the photos and people just sharing what they're finding out there. So it's a lot of fun. BC, you being one of the good friends I've met out on the comic book road, I guess we'll call it.
Dude, likewise, man. And like I said, like I had no intentions on doing the YouTube stuff. I started off on IG because, hey, man, pandemic hit, things got very boring.
Yeah.
And there was that phase where like there was no new comic books coming out, right? That was mortifying for collectors. But yeah, so, that ended up happening, launched the Instagram page, and I met so many people within the community, man, and some that I speak to more now throughout, let's say the 2 years of doing IG. I think I speak to these people more than I do people I grew up with, including yourself, Jake. I'm not lying.
I know the feeling. Yeah. Jesus and I talk all the damn time now, and it's like, 2 years ago, I didn't even know who this guy was. And we got a podcast together.
Dude, I can't get newbie off my back. Someone, I don't know how to tell them.
Oh man, we got to address the elephant in the room. We keep bringing up this newbie character, but who is newbie? We don't know who that is.
Who is this guy?
Who is that guy?
Is he like somebody in comics? Does he have a YouTube channel or something? I don't know.
Something like that. Something like that.
For the listeners out there who aren't familiar, go through our back catalog of episodes. I think newbie almost makes a name appearance in damn near every episode.
Yep.
But he's only been on one episode. He's been on 2 episodes of Floppies, our Patreon exclusive series. That said, I think we need to get into this episode.
Yes.
So BC, we do every episode the same way with the same 3 segments. We're going to kick everything off here with the recent pickup segment where we're going to go around the horn and each of us are going to talk about a comic book or collectible that we recently picked up. Then we're going to move into the Grail Tale segment where we will ask you, BC, to give us a Grail Tale, a story about comic book or books, collectibles that you have that are meaningful or something along those lines. And I think I know where you're going to go with it this week, and I think it's going to be fun for everybody involved. And then we will end the episode with speculation. All of our listeners are collectors in some capacity, and we like to help them or let them know how they can help the hobby pay for itself. Looking after speculating on some books, something that, you're a smart guy, right? I'm sure you know something out there that maybe other people aren't thinking of, that maybe a collectible they need to go snatch up before it hits the eBay hot market, right?
Sure. I hope I deliver. That's a lot of pressure right there.
Well, you know what? If it doesn't work out, we just won't invite you back. How about that?
There you go. Please.
A lot of people are paying for their mortgages and their kids, tuition with flipping Black Crown. So we're gonna need you to help them do that.
Damn. The fate of the children.
Yeah. In your hands.
Recent pickups.
All right, BC. Now we've officially entered the first segment of the show. So take it away.
All right. So, as you mentioned earlier, I was on the Grail for 2022 episode where we said what books we're going to be collecting, and I'm not gonna lie, I got sidetracked. I made a second, like I would say, a side quest along the way of Grails I want to get, man, and a lot of them tend to be video game books.
Oh,
nice,
yes.
Interesting.
So I made sure to pick up some Mega Man.
Nice.
First Mega Man. For those of you listening, I'm actually showing Jake and Jesus the books right now, so they don't think I'm lying. But definitely wanted to pick that up. The Scotty Young cover. Very, very, I wouldn't say super scarce, but a little more rare to come around rather than the regular cover. Spawn 9. Definitely picking up Spawn 9.
Oh, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's an interesting book right there. That Spawn 9 is intriguing for a number of reasons.
Yes. Angela, you can't go wrong. But moving on, Fantastic Four 185, Nicholas Scratch. Guys, don't forget the Agatha show is coming, man. Don't forget. Mm-hmm. This book's already gone down, but you got Fantastic Four 205 as well. Nova Corps. Yeah.
There you go.
I'm telling you what, these are warm blanket books, as we like to call them. These are books that they've gone cold, but we call them warm blankets because people require a warm blanket. They require seeing them on the screen before they get comfortable buying them. And you got to go without that blanket because we already know they're coming, right? Agatha, the show has been announced. The fact that this book has dropped off makes no sense to me whatsoever. It's a great book to look for, and I really like the character as well, just for that matter. And I'm very interested to see what happens with the show because I thought that Agatha was one of the best characters in WandaVision.
100%. I think the show's going to be great. And dude, if they're going to make a show around Agatha, you look around, Fantastic Four, her son, Nicholas Scratch, like it makes sense, right? So we saw it, now it's gone. People are forgetting about it. So here's a simple reminder. Avengers 195, dude, cameo of Taskmaster. This thing dropped significantly. I know nobody cares too much about it, especially after what they got in Black Widow. But hey, man, I will gladly scoop it up. And one more. I'll put one more. I have a ton here, but I'll just put one more.
Jeez, man.
Scar, Son of Hulk, issue 1.
Oh.
Now I know. This is the first in the mainstream universe, but the What If is definitely the first appearance. But definitely pick these up if you come across them. And I semi-lied. I have one more.
Oh, the bonus.
Not comic related, but I'm sure you guys are aware. For those of you who are not, I'm a huge wrestling fan. I grew up watching wrestling, the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
You guys remember Stone Cold, The Rock, Mankind, Undertaker. I actually had the opportunity last Monday. I took the night off from Comic Kingpins to go meet Mick Foley in Montreal because I live in Montreal. And yeah, man. So I picked up his first book that he ever wrote, and he signed it for me.
Did he really?
Oh, nice.
Oh, dude.
Nice.
So there you go.
Awesome.
Mankind himself. Yeah.
Right?
I've heard he's actually a really nice guy.
Dude, he is so nice. He actually so my first name is a little complicated, right? It's as Italian as it gets. And he totally botched it on the 8x10, 8x11, whatever that he signed for me. So he's like, "Hey, what's your name, buddy?" And I tell him, and he just signs it. And I'm watching him sign it, and he's spelling it out. And I'm like, "Thanks, man." And I see the error. I just don't say anything.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I go to the table. I'm having a beer with my brother, and one of the guys that was with Mick Foley, he overhears me saying, "Damn." Not damn. I totally dropped the F-bomb, and I'm like, "You misspelled my name." And the guy looks at me. He's like, "You want him to do another one?" I'm like, "Oh, really? Would he do that?" I go to him, and he's like, "Hey, man, can you just write it down for me?" He's like, I promise I'll get it right this time. So I was super happy about that.
Oh,
So-
that's cool, man.
So I have an error print of an 8x11.
The error variant.
Nice.
Yep.
That's really
Yeah,
cool,
it's
man. Yeah, that's one of those that's why we always say with recent pickups that other collectibles, it doesn't necessarily just have to be a comic because, man, dude, that's a grail, right?
Yeah.
That's a grail for you because, that guy was a part of your childhood. That's pretty awesome.
That's
Yeah.
pretty dope. Yep.
Oh, and he went into the stories, right? All the behind the scenes stuff, the moment that he had the match with The Undertaker, got thrown off the cell. Like he broke it down for us, what he was
dude.
feeling. And I was like, dude, like you get a different perspective, which was super cool.
Yeah. That's awesome. Did he,
Yeah.
did he have any teeth? Did he have his teeth?
They're still busted as hell. I actually saw his ear. That was actually, I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
That got ripped off, right? In the room. That happened. He mentioned the story within the Hell in a Cell match that made me die, which I won't get into because it's going to take up too much time. But he actually serenaded somebody. It was someone's birthday. It was a girl's birthday in the crowd. And he dressed up as Dude Love and sang her happy birthday.
That's awesome.
Yep. Good times.
For sure.
That's nice.
For sure.
Well, man, I feel bad for whoever has to follow up that recent pickup story, but hey, Zeus, why don't you give it a go?
All right, man. Well, as you can tell, my voice is a little off. I've been on vacation for the past 2 weeks, touring with Metallica. No, I'm just joking. I went to California to take the kids to Disneyland. And when one's at Disneyland, one goes to Golden Apple Comics since 1979. One of the OG local comic shops.
Nice.
So I was able to make it out there, and my recent pickups is from them. Nothing too crazy, nothing too special. I just got Banner of War Part 1.
Okay, nice.
I was there, and I got Hulk number 7, which is Part 3 of the Banner of War. And also number 7 on the run. So I'm missing number 2, but I just wanted to go in there, check out that local comic shop. I hear a lot about it because it's been around forever. And I can say for myself, from my experience, it was great. The people there were great. There's a lot of people shopping, a lot of people being friendly. What are you buying? What are you looking for? I think there was a guy trying to sell some of his collection to them. So there's just a lot of cool stuff going on. When I went up to the counter, they recommended some things as well, which is always nice for a local comic shop to do. But that's my recent pickup, a couple books from Golden Apple in Los Angeles, which is a very famous, I believe it's a very famous LCS, but I got a chance to check it out. So I'm very happy about my trip, about making it out there.
Nice.
Yeah, man, that's pretty sweet. I have not had a chance to make it to Golden Apple Comics, but I think you're right. Like I'm pretty sure I've actually purchased from Golden Apple Comics just online because they have like store exclusives that I've ordered. And now BC, you're in Canada, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
We have way too many Canadians on this show, don't we?
No, but forget the fact that I'm envious of you going to that shop. I'm just envious of you being in LA, right? Like I would do anything to go and visit LA.
Man, that's what I had to do. I had to do a lot of stuff. Metallica wasn't, easy to follow, easy to be a roadie for Metallica. No, man, I've been planning that trip since probably before the pandemic for my twins. I have twin 8-year-old, they're 7-year-old, they're about to be 8 in a couple of weeks.
Nice.
I've been planning it for like a year, maybe a little bit longer than a year. Because I took my older kids to Disney World. So I thought, hey, let's go to Disneyland. And it just took a lot of planning for me and kind of figuring stuff out. But we had a blast. Disneyland was great. There was also, I wanted to say another thing. There was also a semi-comic shop inside of California Adventure, the Marvel stuff. And I was tempted to buy some things there because they did have some books that are kind of hot. The problem is they're all jacked up. They're not in bags and boards. They're not even in short boxes or long boxes. They are literally like, think of a locker, and at the you pull them from the bottom. It jacks them all up. So what? I could have bought some from there and said I bought some from Disneyland, but and I like the fact that they're doing that because there's gonna be some kids that are getting them, in the gift shop that are young. They could maybe read those. But for everybody else, man, it just sucks because they were all jacked up. The spines were all messed up.
How does Marvel not know how to take care of comic book? Like it's,
I don't think that's the Marvel side. I think that's the Disney side, right? Yeah, that's the Disney. That's the parks. That's the park side. They're like, hey, can you just throw us some comic books? We want to put them out here when little kids come out of the what is it? The Guardians of the Galaxy, Tower of Terror reboot, or when they come out of what was the other one? The web slingers, the Spider-Man web slinger ride, which was really dope, by the way.
Nice.
So it sucks.
Just a missed opportunity on their part, but it is cool that they're moving that direction. And I guarantee they're probably going to hear that type of feedback from people. So
I'm writing a sternly written letter to them.
Never underestimate the power of a sternly worded letter,
especially from Jesus, man. I want bags and boards next time.
Yeah, and not the cheap ones either.
Yeah, man. But hey, speaking of which, Kate, just a quick question to you guys. You walk into a shop. Now, I know that was Disney, but you walk into shops, so you're picking up comics. They're not bagged and boarded. They're on the shelves just like that. Is that a turnoff for you?
I'll go first. For me, it is. The reason for it, and I think I've told this story before, but down here in Houston, we have a lot of humidity. Yeah. So it's going to wrinkle those pages if you leave them on there. And there's the big Walmart type comic book shop down here leaves them on the rack without bags and boards, and you got to pay 30 cents for them, which, I mean, I get it, man. Everything's going up, but it's just nice when you go into a shop and they're already bagged and boarded for you. That, at least here, it's helping to keep the humidity away. You can just pick them up. You already know what you got, and then you just pay for it. So, it's a turnoff for me, but for me, it's probably because of the humidity. I don't know. Some other people, it turns them off or not.
That's the complete opposite for myself, right? In Canada, because it's so cold, it's like preserving meat. We get 9/8.
All the 9/8 go to Canada because all the books are frozen.
But yeah.
What about you, Jake?
Well, so my local LCS first of all, most of the comic shops I know in the area that I attend or buy books from regularly, all of the back bin books are bagged and boarded, but new books are on the shelf without bags and boards. However, my LCS, and I've had my pull list at a couple different shops, and they pretty much exclusively do the same thing. If you have a pull list with them, they bag and board the books before they put them in your file. So I go in every Wednesday or whenever I get in there, and I get books handed to me that are pre-bagged and board. But if I missed a book and I didn't put it on my list and I got to find it on the shelf, there's no, I have to get the bag and board myself, put it in there. Not a big deal, but that's the scenario I'm in. And although climate wise, again, it's not the same situation that you have there in Houston, and overall doesn't necessarily aggravate me in any way. And I do think it's really nice that as a good customer for that store, they don't really charge me for the bags and boards. They're just like, yeah, man, take these. We know you're coming back for more. So
exactly.
All right. Let's get back to recent pickups. We'll finish this segment up. I did something I've actually not done before. So I got really, really excited for a series, a new issue. And the new issue released on Comixology today. Now, I could have waited, and I still have it on my pull list for tomorrow. I'm going to go and get the book, the actual physical copy. It's on my pull list, but I wanted to read it. And surprisingly, it's a DC book.
Oh,
what?
That's crazy. I know, right? I've always been more of a reading fan of DC than Marvel. And I don't mean anything against the Marvel books. Just weirdly enough, I just like reading a lot of the DC books better. Now, I'm not saying I'm a crazy DC reader. I read a lot more independent stuff than anything else. But when I do read capes, I'm usually reading DC. So I had to pick up Dark Crisis.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. So Dark Crisis, issue number 1, this limited series event. This is I guess you could say it's a continuation. I want to go back to the I am everybody listening is aware, I am the world's worst descriptor reader of what a series is. And for those of you who don't know what Dark Crisis is, I just don't want to butcher that for you. So it's a big event for DC. Oh man, this is going to annoy me now. Because I'm not going to be able to find, I had it pulled up and I'm just the guy who forgot to, okay. So, here we go. Jake's just going to read something for everybody here. Crisis on Infinite Earths. Oh man, I'm butchering it already. I can't even read. All right, here we go. One more time here. Crisis on Infinite Earths, Infinite Crisis, Final Crisis, and now Dark Crisis. The epic event, years in the making, is finally here. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and the rest of the Justice League are dead. Seriously, guys, I already read this issue, and the first few pages, you're just like, wait a minute, they're dead? The remaining heroes are left to protect the world from an onslaught of violent attacks by DC's greatest villains. Can the legacy heroes step out of the shadows of the classic heroes to form a new Justice League? And will that be enough to stop the darkness greater than anything they've ever faced, destroying everything? Don't miss out on the first issue of this blockbuster event of the summer. All right, so all of that just to let you know, I read the first issue. I was excited to get this, and it did not disappoint. So the writing on this is from Joshua Williamson, and art by Daniel Sampere. Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, I'm only here to butcher things, folks. That's what I do here. But the first few pages, immediately there's a memorial to the Justice League, and then you immediately see Wally and some of the other secondary characters taking the spotlight in terms of being heroes, and they're just having a difficult time already. Immediately, they're like, man, this was so much easier when the Justice League was here, right? And you get a little bit of, background and information about what happened to the Justice League, right? That's kind of a big mystery because you initially just get information from Black Adam, so of the Justice League, former Justice League members, the only one who wasn't a member of the Justice League at the time that they all died was Hal Jordan. So Green Lantern, right, was still or is still around. But he comes back having not known what happened to the Justice League. And he's like, what the hell's going on? And he does not want to, and he has to take the word about what happened to the Justice League from Black Adam. I like what they're doing with these characters. I like that they're immediately kind of tossing Black Adam out there. Listen, this might actually be one of the smart things that DC is doing with regards to, we've got a Black Adam movie coming out. It seems like Black Adam is going to be a major factor in this series. That's not a bad idea, right? We've got the movie. We've got a character that the people who aren't hardcore readers, they don't know a lot about Black Adam.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing, but getting it into the newer comic books, getting something that comic book readers can, because when that movie comes out, if this event really goes off well, people could attach to it. They could come back, pick it up, get the trade, stuff like that. So I'm excited about it. And I haven't been excited about something DC in a long time.
It makes perfect sense, man. And like you were just saying with Black Adam, obviously the movie's coming. The Rock, man. The Rock's taking this role super serious, man. If you guys haven't seen it, man, I think he's ready to go balls to the wall for this one. He's taking this to heart. And yeah, man, Marvel does the same, right? Marvel lines up sort of what's happening within their comics right now with the MCU and stuff like that. You do see, things coming out at certain points for specific reasons. Miss Marvel just got a mini series, right?
Yep.
And here we are.
Yeah.
It's dropping this week, right? And Miss Marvel's dropping this week.
As people are listening today, it's dropping. So it's Kamala Khan today.
Exactly. So there you have it. So there's that. And just to point out, Jake, because you mentioned the death of the Justice League issue 75. I don't know if you saw that cardstock cover. It was the one with the caskets of all of the Justice League. So neat, man. I grabbed it. There was no way I was passing on that one.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think this is going to be a fun event that is going to be both interesting to new readers, but also pay off storylines for the people who have been reading for a long time, right? They're clearly calling back. They're clearly making the connections that the people who have already read want. But I also think it's super accessible, and I think it's great. So I'm excited to see how it unfolds. Issue number 1 is good. So good that I had to buy the digital version before a day early. It's like getting like an advanced screening to a movie that you've been waiting for a while. You're just like, screw it. I'll buy the online one, and then I'll get the physical one tomorrow. Right.
Oh, like you did with Morbius. Yeah, I remember.
It's Morbin time.
No, the worst part is they relaunched Morbius in theaters. I don't know if you guys heard about that this week.
I did. I'm interested to see if it actually makes some money.
It did. I think it made like 75,000 or something like that. So,
oh, geez, well worth it.
Ridiculously small. Yeah. But wait, you guys were talking about The Rock being Black Adam. One of the biggest movie stars right now, biggest action stars right now attached to this. BC, you said it. He's taking it super seriously. He just released that's a rap little video. Today we're recording on, what's today's date? The
7th.
The 7th. We recorded on the 7th. He just released one today, and he talks about how, I don't know what words I'm paraphrasing, but basically DC is being reimagined. The movie universe with Black Adam at the center somehow. So I don't know what that means. I take his word seriously. He's taking it seriously. So Black Adam does have a lot of legs.
I feel like fans would be very open to the fact, like if DC came out saying, guys, you know what, everything we did up until now, we're hitting reset. Like, let's move forward with Black Adam. I think fans would be super happy about that.
Jake would love that, right, Jake?
Hey, I'd be okay with them as long as they move forward and interconnect shit, right?
Yes.
Like, let's stop with the, like, I don't like being confused or unknown. Like, just connect your stuff.
Hey,
connect this character to that character, and it's not that hard to interweave it. They can still have individual movies without always having to cross over, but it is nice to know they're in the same universe.
Hey, quick side note about interconnectivity. This is a real cool segue, which may or may not continue the expanded issues with DC. But I went to Legoland, Universal, Disneyland, and California Adventure. Obviously, the Disney ones aren't going to have any DC rides, but the other two didn't have any DC rides either.
Wow.
So there's no DC rides. I remember back in the day, 20 years ago, Six Flags had some
Superman,
Batman ride, Riddler, but they're just not out there. They're not promoting them either. So it's like, that's another level that Marvel hits, which is rides and even experiences. And I mean, we went to the Ant-Man restaurant and ate a burger with like a tiny bun because they messed up, because that's what happens at the Ant-Man restaurant. They make huge pretzels and tiny, but it's just weird. But that's just another level that DC doesn't hit on, man. And they need to, because I'd love to ride a Batman ride, a Superman ride, a Riddler ride, all that stuff.
Yeah. I think we'll get there. It's just, honestly, DC's chasing Marvel, which means they're chasing Disney, which that's a hard act to follow. Of course. Speaking of a hard act to follow, we need to move on to the next segment, guys.
Grail Tale. Grail Tale. Grail Tale. Grail Tale. Grail Tale.
The Grail Tale segment. BC, this one is all on your shoulders. I hope you can feel the weight. We're passing it on, right? Just take the yoke and just run with it, man.
I'm ready, but I do have a question. That jingle, Jesus, be honest, this is why you lost your voice. You were recording that over again.
It's my, the thing people assume is that it's just recorded and we just press play, but I record it every week. That's how much I like that jingle.
I love it. But guys, yes, okay. Grail Tale. Well, Grail Tale. It's really just a catch up on where we're at, right? So
yeah, I think this is an interesting concept. BC, do you mind if I step in real quick on that?
Ahead.
Sorry, I just told you to take it all on your shoulders, and then I stepped in. But, don't worry. That's what I do. Anyway, so for everybody out there listening, if you're not familiar, we mentioned it earlier in the show. BC here was on our episode 25, which was our giant-sized New Year's special. And the thing that we did in that episode was we had multiple guests, I believe 5, maybe 6. I'm not 100% sure anymore. It's been a little while. But we had multiple guests on, and every guest needed to let us know what their Grail goals were for 2022. And everybody comes in, it's like any New Year's resolution, right?
Yeah.
Everybody just comes in with guns blazing, super big goals. And then we hit you guys with the news and we told you afterwards, by the way, that the rules the rules are, if you don't obtain your 2022 Grail goals before the end of the year, you never get the books. You're not allowed to collect them. And as crazy as it sounds, we're gonna hold people to it.
Yeah. I remember when you even mentioned the whole thing of us not being able to get these books again. I think I was sitting in the backstage, if I recall correctly. I was sitting in the backstage and you told the guest prior to me that rule. And I was modifying the hell out of my list before I came out. I was getting ready to put on Turok, whatever I could, just because the pressure was on. But jokes aside, ASM 129 was on the list. And then when you said that, I'm like, hell no. I'm taking that out. But yeah, no, okay. So on that episode, that's where I told you guys the grails that I'm going to be going for were New Mutants 98,
Mm-hmm.
first Deadpool. ASM 316, simply cover by. It's just the one that I've been missing in the collection, always wanted. Fantastic Four 46, right?
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, that's Black
First
Bolt.
Black Bolt. Yep.
Exactly. Fantastic Four 49. This one I'm sweating for. ASM 238 and Iron Man 55. So ASM 238, Hobgoblin, and then you got Iron Man 55, Thanos, Star Fox, all that jazz.
Drax. Yeah.
So yes, guys, I'm living on a prayer. You know why? You know why?
Why, you've been being a roadie for Bon Jovi?
No, because BC is halfway there, guys. I got 3 out of the 6. I got 3 out of the 6 so far. Oh man, but yeah, okay. Back on track. I got 3 out of the 6 now. It's ironic because yes, halfway there. We're halfway into the year, right? So that's
you're on track.
We're on par. We're on pace. But it's funny because we spoke earlier about the comic community, Instagram, and everybody coming together. Now, the 3 that I got are actually New Mutants 98, ASM 316, and Fantastic Four 46. I'll explain why, and I'll explain how. The first one that I got knocked out right out the gate, like literally, I think we finished recording and it just happened. ASM 316. One of my buddies that I know here locally, went to high school with, and now he's within the comic community as well. He hits me up and he's like, dude, found a local deal. Guys selling them raw. And like out of nowhere, it just happened to be a sick deal. And I'm like, there's no way I'm passing on this. So I managed to get it. Got it for $100. It was $100 Canadian, which is chump change for you guys.
What does that equate to? Like 20 cents?
Exactly. But yeah, so $100 Canadian. It's a high candidate, so I was super happy about that. Definitely scooped it up. Then moving on, Black Bolt. Being within what we do, guys, Jake, Jesus, you open IG, you know, I'm doing shows with Newbie, right?
Yeah.
Spoilers. We get the spoilers, right?
So, it's based on what we do. It is so much harder now than it ever has been to avoid spoilers. It just has.
One, because of what we do. 2, we also want to be ahead of the game, right? It's normal.
Yeah.
I felt ballsy putting Iron Man 55 on the list because I already knew Star Fox was going to be, making his appearance in the Eternals. But putting Fantastic Four 46, I was telling myself, hey, I got to scoop this ASAP because the second this guy hits in the movie, this shit's going to explode. I will never be able to get it. Did I know it was going to play out the way it played out in the movie? No, I had absolutely no idea.
Oh, it exploded all right. Maybe not in the way you thought, though.
So
nice one.
Yeah, exactly. But hear me out, okay? So I found a very low grade, already graded. I think it was like a 3.0. And I didn't pay much for it. I paid for like maybe, I think it was 180 Canadian, something like that. So I'm happy because now the book took off and then came back down. So I'm back at par. I didn't lose money.
Good.
But what did I do at the time that I picked it up? Ironically, those timeless Miss Minutes covers came out. And being the flipper that I am, if you want to label me that.
You're dirty flipper.
There you go. I had a few copies, man. I had that. And then people were speculating on Thor. I think it was issue 20 where you get the Mjolnir is its own.
The god of hammers or something.
Yeah, exactly. So people were speculating on that. I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm selling my Miss Minutes covers, $60 Canadian. People were buying them up. Bought them up. I sold 3 copies, and that paid for Fantastic Four 46. So, good budget. I think I got my books on a good budget so far. Now, New Mutants 98. This one, again, rumors were circulating like, yo, Deadpool. And I feel like every movie that's dropping MCU related since the Fox news, everyone thinks Deadpool's going to appear at some point, right?
Oh, yeah.
And,
he's coming.
Yeah, and then when I saw that commercial with Korg, I'm like, oh shit,
yeah.
like, I got to pick this up ASAP. Right? So FOMO definitely kicked in. I'm like, yeah, I got to pick this up. So again, it just happened to fall into my lap, but it was a local. It was a local here who actually had an ad up, and he put up a CBCS copy of a 9.4. Now, I happen to recognize this local, and as I told you guys earlier in the show, I'm Italian, Sicilian to be half Sicilian to be exact. And this guy owns a shop, okay, not a comic shop. He sells bignolatis. Now, what's a bignolati, dude? It's dough, bread with sausage in it, and like you can literally stuff it how you please. It's the most fattening thing in the world. It's honestly, it's heavenly. So he tells me like, hey, dude, come pick it up, at the shop, whatever. So I'm like, all right, dude. I make my way there. Man, he has a display of like a ton of key books, man. Like I think I was going there for that New Mutants 98 in a CBCS, and I fell in love with all the other shit he had there too, including the food, man.
Oh man!
So I walk in there and it smells like my grandma's house. I haven't had that in years, right? Because he makes those things identical. So like I said, bignolatis. We'll Google that stuff.
Bignolatis.
Yeah, bignolatis. And so I walk in and I see it on the shelf. It's on display. The New Mutants 98's there. And I see it in the CBCS, but it's sitting right next to another New Mutants 98 CGC in a 9.4. Now, obviously, you want the CGC, right? That's just
you do. Hey Zeus, right? How do you feel about that?
No, you don't. No, the CBCS 9.4 is graded harder.
Right?
And it's cheaper.
Right? But yeah, so he actually put that up for 500, the CBCS. We end up, chatting and chopping it up, and lo and behold, man, like we have a lot of people that we know in common. So, chopping it up, man, not only did he tell me, BC, it's okay, I'll give you the CGC one because I see you looking at it for the exact same price. So I was super happy about that. Now he gave it to me for 500 Canadian. What did I do to obtain that 500? Again, I make the hobby pay for itself. Nice. I had the first appearance of Kamala Khan.
Okay, nice.
It was a Raw, the Marvel Point 1.
Okay.
Now, I know for a fact there was no way in hell that was a 9.8. I even showed the guy when I sold the book. I'm like, here, you can see there's a spine tape. Like it's literally there. I don't think you're going to get a 9.8. So I sold it, man. I sold that. And I sold him the issue number 1 with the design. It's the design variant of Miss Marvel. Plus, there was the issue, I believe, 5, with where she's sitting on the light, kind of like
sitting on the lamp. Yeah, sitting on the lamp.
Those are some popular covers right now. By the way,
exactly. So I sold that raw, and again, you're not getting a 9.8 candidate, and I sold it for 500. So that paid that. Nice. So I was super happy with that. But where did BC win? Dude, he gave me a free box of those bignolatis. I swear to God. I swear to God. Yes. Yo, I literally got in my car. Dude, I was living a dream. I'm in my car. I have the box smelling fresh out the oven. It smelled so good. You got the New Mutants and the CGC. I thought I was getting a CBCS, right? So I'm living, bro. I'm living. Yeah, I'm in traffic on the main highway in Montreal. I'm popping open my box of bignolatis, and I'm just eating like that fat pig that I am in the middle of traffic. You see this like old lady looking at me. I'm like living, man, living. And no, Bon Jovi was not playing on the radio, unfortunately.
Metallica was. Let's go.
Metallica was. But yeah, so That's
Oh,
what got me
gosh.
halfway, man. So far, those are my stories, but it's crazy because the guy who sold me that New Mutants 98, he's become such a good friend now, someone that I speak to regularly. And it's crazy. Like we said, through IG, just networking. He had no idea who I was, right? When I was purchasing the comic, he didn't know that I'm, on YouTube or IG or whatever. And now here we are, we speak often, and a prime example on how, friendships have been made within this short time on YouTube and IG.
Yeah, man, that's incredible, dude. And that's also, just the passion about how you told that story that's got to be in the top 5, right? Right, Jesus?
Yeah. For sure, man. And now the Bignaletti is like a grail of mine. I'm a food connoisseur.
Bro.
So definitely.
So are these like the Italian hot pockets? Is that what they are?
It's a Sicilian dish. Sicilian.
Excuse me.
Specify it.
You bet. Yeah, go right ahead.
But yeah, it's literally dough wrapped, and you stuff it with sausage, cheese. He even does Philly cheesesteak styles, pizza styles. You could say you could say it's like a pizza pocket. It's not, but if you Google it,
it's not.
If you Google, yeah, dude, you throw in some black olives, it's so good, man. It's just, I know I look like I'm 150 pounds of wet, but dude, I'm a foodie, bro. And I take food sometimes over Grails if that's what it comes down to.
I can see in my head the picture of just BC driving home, and he's like, oh God, he's stuffing his face full of these things. Yeah. And he's holding his book in his arm, and he's got the old ladies, and he's just waving at people.
Oh yeah.
He threw in the Bignaletti.
Yeah. And guys, no lie, because they're pretty expensive, right? Like he sells boxes. I think it's like, I would say a box of 12 for like 40 something Canadian. Now I get home. Now my wife's looking at me like, where the hell were you? Like, it makes no sense that you're coming home with this. Like, you don't ever come home with this. So I come home with this box, and I'm holding the slab. Like, I'm happy as hell. And I'm like, oh yeah, babe. Like, I just bought this book, and like crazy, like common friends. I'm like, he gave me this box of 9, but it was 12 before. So like, if you and the kids want it, like, just enjoy.
So now every time you go, she's gonna order, can we get that box of 9? 9.
I'm gonna look at him and be like, yo, just slip me the 3 on the side.
Yeah, you get home, you're like, babe, I just had the best day of my life. After our wedding day and our children being born, the best day of my life. That's pretty incredible. That's all. Okay, so let's just do a quick recap here. Yeah. So we're halfway through the year, right? Correct. You still got another 6 months left, and you got still most of this month, right? So you've got like 6.5 months, honestly. Yeah. And you got 3 left. What do you got left?
So I've got Fantastic Four 46. Fantastic. 49. No, 46.
That's a big one.
ASM 238 and Iron Man 55. Now, like I said, Jesus, we spoke about this a little earlier before even hopping on here. I've been collecting for quite some time, man. It's been years. And most of my grails I've paid them cover price, if not maybe even less. That Spider-Verse 6 that took off, right? I just sent one fast track CGC. I know it's a 9.8. I'll be so puzzled if it comes back at 9.6. But that book took off to about $2,000, right?
Yep.
So with all the Spider-Verse spec, because of the new Sony animated movie that's going to be coming out, and it's a 2-part film, right? There's a lot of speculation with those characters that are within the book. So for myself, do I care about that book? No, it's $2,000 right now in a 9.8, right?
Yeah.
So I think I'd rather put my money towards the grails I care about. And that's something I will always encourage people to do, is if you're sitting on something that's just meaningless to you, put it where you love it, man. That's it. Just go grab something, sell it, flip it, and enjoy.
Yeah, man. I think that's something that's really good especially for new collectors. There's a lot of people out there listening who this might be early on in your collecting days, right? Like, you may not necessarily be excuse me, a old hat or whatever.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's very easy to come into this hobby and say, all right, I'm going to buy everything. I'm going to buy all these. I want all these grails, these big books. And how do people get these things? Well, honestly, it comes from years of collecting, right? Like there are books from my childhood where you're just like, yeah, turns out I had a copy of that, right? Like because you bought it or even a decade ago, right? Like that's like Ultimate Fallout 4. That's how a lot of people actually ended up with those. It's not that they bought them or flipped their way up to them. That is a way to get those. And of course, you're not going to go and buy Ultimate Fallout 4 for cover price anymore. But I'm telling you, there is going to be another one of those type of books. We don't know when, but it's going to be on store shelves. It's going to be for cover price. So I think it's a good tale. I think it's a good story to just say, right? Collect how you want to collect. Everybody can do it their own way. There's no wrong way to do it. However, read the books. That's really a major part of the enjoyment for me is I like reading the books, but I also find the stuff that I want to collect by reading those books. And it kind of influences that, and so I have boxes full of comic books and I like to do my best to say, yeah, I read that whole box. Yeah, I read them all. I don't remember them all. I should, but after years you forget, guys.
But I'm a huge believer in collect what you like. You know what I mean? Collect what you like. Read the stories, man. That'll also help you, navigate as to what to spec on. Like perfect example, I have a Edge of Spider-Verse 2 behind me in a 9.8. I picked it up at $5 because I was reading it back in the day. Did I think it'd be where it's at now? I had no idea.
Nice.
But prime example, man. Just collect what you like, and you never know. It just might hit.
Exactly. All right, guys. I think that that is a nice way to get into our final segment of the day. Speculation. That's right, the speculation segment. This is going to be where we talk about a book or collectible that we feel like is going to increase in value and may help you as a collector or hobbyist help the hobby pay for itself. Hey, Zeus, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, man, that was a great segue, what you guys were talking about into my speculation. And as we talked about, BC, you talked about one of these books, but it is Kamala Khan Day. And I want to speculate on a book that I've already speculated on. But the first time I spec'd on it, it was a back bin, either dollar bin book, if you could find it, or cover price, $4 or $5. And the book that I'm talking about is Miss Marvel number 16 from 2015. It's the first meeting of Captain Marvel and Kamala Khan.
Yeah.
Now this book is going for $20. So if you would have picked it up when I spec'd on it first, you could have flipped it for $20 right now. But I still think it has some room. Now let me tell you why. The book that BC talked about was Miss Marvel number 5, which everyone's going crazy about because it's the one where she's sitting on the lamp. And it looks like this series on Disney Plus. There's a shot of her sitting on a lamp. That book is going for $50 raw, right? Where the one I'm talking about is going for around 15 to 20. But if they do meet in this series, if she does meet Captain Marvel in this series, that book is going to go up even higher. And if you look at the Hawkeye series, where there was a book that was that they were speccing on based on the aesthetics of the series, it went up to like $50. Mm-hmm. It was that David Aja artwork, and now it has plummeted. So I think the Miss Marvel number 16, the first meeting of Captain Marvel and Kamala Khan, right now, if you can get it for $15 to $20, still has some legs. You could probably flip it for 40 or 50 if they do meet in this series. That's what I got for you today.
Yeah, I don't disagree, man. I actually picked those up. I'm going to do it Spitfire style. Just give you guys a heads up, because Captain Marvel 17, that's the first full of Phi-Level, right? That one totally took off. There's talks that there's possibilities of this taking place within Guardians or within the Marvels. I don't know if you guys saw Chris Pratt leaked a photo of himself on set with a certain costume.
Yep.
People were starting to talk after that. So I have faith in Quasar, man, and I'm saying Phyla Vell as Quasar.
Oh.
So I don't know if you guys remember when that took place within comics, but yeah, Conquest, the prologue is where she's Quasar, right? That's after she takes control of the quantum bands. So, there's also talks of quantum bands within the MCU. So I think that's a good book to possibly look at. And then you get Annihilation Conquest 6. That's a book that's already starting to get up there, but I think now is the time to grab it before the door closes. New Guardians team, Guardians of the Galaxy. You got Star-Lord, you got Gamora, you got Drax, Groot, Rocket, Adam Warlock, and Quasar.
Yeah. Well, we've got most of them already. It'll be interesting to see if they all stick with it after this movie. But I've got a feeling at least one, if not more, maybe moving on. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm very interested in that. But I think those are all great spec pickups. And I would recommend to everybody that take that advice. That might be the best advice given on this episode so far. So I'm going to go ahead and toss out mine. Something, Jesus, you shared a trailer with me today that just dropped. Prey, the prequel, I guess we'll call it, to Predator. BC, did you take a look at that?
Yes, I did.
Didn't that look? I don't know about you guys. I thought it looked pretty badass.
It does, man.
You guys know who the production company is for that? You know who owns Predator?
Well, Predator is owned by Marvel right now, no?
Yes.
Yeah, Disney.
Being produced by Disney.
Yep.
And do you also know? Okay, so when you think Predator, right? Besides Arnold Schwarzenegger yelling "Get to the chopper," what character do you most associate Predator with?
All
right, it's spoiler alert. Alien, right?
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. Yeah.
Right? We know that Alien is also owned by Disney now. Now, there have not been, to my knowledge, please correct me if I'm wrong, I don't believe there have been official announcements as far as where Disney is going to be taking the Alien franchise, but we know that they're not going to do nothing with it. Right. Yeah. It's a very valuable franchise. And we know that they're already doing a prequel-esque kind of storyline for Predator. Jesus and I had already talked a little bit about what we thought of the trailer and kind of where we thought they were going to go with this storyline. Jesus, maybe that's a really cool episode for like a Floppies episode. Maybe we dive a little bit into the Predator and maybe Alien connections, because I know that's semi-comic related, but also movie related.
That'd be fun.
I, however, am going to speculate on Dark Horse Presents number 36. This is the first battle of Aliens versus Predators. Nice. Art by Chris Warner. Writer was Randy Stradley. It was printed in February 1990. So the thing about this book, the reason why I'm recommending it is because it is absolutely dirt cheap. You can get this book for $10. It is very, very affordable for an older book and the first in-comic meeting of these two characters. Now, you can go all the way back and find the first comic book appearance of Predator if you'd like. It's still not that expensive of a book. To get a really pristine copy, you're probably going to spend $100 or $200.
Great cover.
It is a really cool cover. That said, but I think it is probably about time to really start. And going back and getting the first Alien in comics, also going to be a little pricey. That definitely, it's a black cover, hard to get in high grade. Those are definitely a little pricier already. But I'm saying right now, you can still find other key books that are very dirt cheap with these characters. And this movie, this trailer immediately tells me, like, this is not done. This is not a one shot. This isn't Disney just cash grabbing on Predator, because that looks like a well-made movie already. And you look at the talent they have involved in that movie, the actors, I really like how they're taking it back in time. They're getting rid of all of the modern technology of assault rifles and military trained professionals like Arnold Schwarzenegger. And but it looks pretty incredible. And I'm saying right now, I'm calling it. I think they are really going to work up to a a Predator versus Alien showdown. And not like that original movie. Nothing against that movie. I know there are a lot of people that are hardcore fans. I'm not. But I do think that they've got some really good characters involved that could end up being pretty incredible. And I've got a lot of faith in Marvel. I've got a lot of faith in Disney. They haven't really let us down that. A few shows aside, right? Say what you want about Moon Knight, and I know some people don't like that, but for the most part, their track record is so good. I can't wait to see what they do with it. And so this book would be a good pickup.
I don't disagree at all, man.
Well, I can tell you, Jake, this is one of the I don't know, franchises that I follow. I don't know why. Prometheus, I really like Prometheus and Alien Covenant. But I also collect the storylines in the comic books because it just expounds on the mythos of these characters. So I have a bunch of the Prometheus and Alien comic books that I like to read. I have somewhere in the back bins here. But I agree, man. I think, they don't miss, and I think this too, like this is a straight to Hulu movie, but it doesn't feel like it. It feels like it could just be on its own in a movie theater, and it looks great. It looks phenomenal. So they're not going to miss. But yeah, that's a great spec, Jake. For once, thank you.
and yo, just to add 10 seconds worth, guys, Marvel within the comics right now is doing some cool things with Alien. So,
yes, they are.
Yeah, but
the Alien covers and the Alien variants and stuff like that too.
I think they're showing their hand. As Marvel tends to do in the comic books, they tend to show their hand a little bit about what direction they might be headed with when it comes to their cinematic universe. And I think it is a good thing to follow. But that's it for speculation. And that is going to do it for this episode of Spec Tales. Before we leave you, BC, I got to say it again. Thank you so much for being a part of this episode. And it was a blast. I can't wait to follow up with you at the end of the year as well. We'll get you on, of course. We'll make sure that we like I said, we're going to hold everybody to it. But thank you very much for being a part of the show today.
Hey, it's a pleasure, man. Hopefully I could get both of you on with the Comic Kingpins. We go live Monday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern.
That's right.
For sure.
That would be awesome. That would be a lot of fun. Thanks. And we'll work that out. We'll take care of that. And yeah, definitely go check it out, everybody. The Comic Kingpins are a lot of fun. I don't know if I've been on Kingpins or I've been with you on Newbie's show so many times.
You came on to our mid-year celebration.
That's correct. That's right. You guys you had a ton of people on that episode, right?
Yeah. The rotating backstage was rough, man.
Yeah. That was some good stuff, though. That was good.
Yeah. Fun times.
Well, definitely go look up BC on Instagram. That is Blakk, spelled Blakk, Crown Comics. And then again on YouTube under Comic Book Kingpins. If you'd like to reach out to Jesus and I, you can reach out to us via email. That is spectalespodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram, spec_tales_podcast. And you can find us on Twitter at spectalespod. All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll be back next week. Have a good week.